All right, guys. Welcome to day 8 of your notes. This is your last day for this unit, so this is your last video of this unit. So that's pretty exciting. We got through the whole unit. You dealt with my videos, and I appreciate everyone that did watch the videos and paid attention. And this was a great learning experience for me. Okay, I really appreciate it. So let's keep this going. One more video. Hopefully, I'll keep it pretty short. And yeah, let's get into it. So today we're going to be going over solving rational inequalities. It's very similar to solving radical inequalities that we did before, but in this case it'll be rational functions instead of radical. Makes sense. So the steps for solving a rational inequality are similar to radical inequalities, but there's a slightly different order and you don't have the radical, obviously. So your first step is to write the inequality. Let me get the highlighter. Is to write the inequality as an equation. Okay, you're writing it as an equation and then you solve, right? So this would be the second step pretty much of the radical inequality. So this is the first step for us. The second one is to determine any values that make the denominator equal to 0. So just like under the radical, we could have it 0 or greater, couldn't have it less than 0. In this case, we can't have it equal to 0. So we need to find where the function in the denominator will be 0. And that's going to be our other critical point. And then just like the radical, we put on number 9, mark the values, okay? Then we test the point in each interval, less than 1, in between the two, and greater than 1. This is all the same as before. And then we have to mark where it's true and when it's false. So if it doesn't satisfy, it's false. If it does, it's true. And then last, we have to state our answer. And some of you are getting this wrong or weren't doing this on the quiz. State your answer using a form of notation. So you have to set it as either interval or set builder notation. So what we mean by that is we're writing it down as an inequality in either form of these, and that's going to be our answer. Some of you didn't say that in the quiz, and you kind of got points off for that. You did all the work, and you just didn't say the answer. So that's something we need to make sure we focus on. Okay. So if we look at this example below real quick, we have our function x minus 4 over x plus 5 is less than 4. So your first step is you can find a common denominator. In this case, you could also do cross multiply because your 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. So you could cross multiply, and that's how you get that. And then you solve for x, and you get -8. So that's your one critical value. And then your next step is to take the denominator here, set equal to 0, and then solve for x as well. So your other critical point in this case is x equals -5. Is -5. And then you plot those on the number line, just like we've done. You pick points, and as we can see, it was true, false, true for less than, middle, and greater than. And so our answer is going to look like this. This is your set builder notation. So x is less than -8, or x is greater than -5. Or we have an interval notation here. We have -infinity to 8 with parentheses because we can't equal the others. Or, just like probability, the u, that means or, -5 to positive infinity. Okay? So your answers, once you figure it out, should look like this or this, okay? One of these forms. We recommend the interval notation, but if you do the set builder, you're not wrong. So let's do this first example together. So we have 3 over x plus 7 over x is greater than 9. So my first step is I'm going to make this an equation by changing the greater than to equal. So I'm also going to kind of combine steps here and write this all over x, because we know that x is our common denominator here. I'll put 9 there. I'm also going to put 9 over 1 just to emphasize that, we can do the cross multiply, which is the same thing as setting this over x and multiplying this by x and then only focus on the numerators. Well, if we cross multiply, we get 10, because 3 plus 7 is 10, equals 9x. Solve for x, we get 10 over 9 is equal to x. Okay, so that's 1 point. Step 2 is we're taking the denominator, in this case just x, and setting it equal to 0. Let me fix that x for us. So x equals 0. Luckily, there's nothing else to do. So that's our next step. So 0 is the other critical point. Now I'm kind of condensing the steps into 3. So third step is put them on the number line. So we have 0 over here and 10 over 9 over here. That's a 9. And now we're going to pick 3 points, 1 in each interval. So for this one, I'll choose -1. Ooh, that could have been better. So x equals, then in this interval, I know this is greater than 1, so I'm going to set your other value equal to 1, and this one I'm going to do 2. Okay, so now all you need to do in this case is to just take the x and show that you're substituting it. So 3 over -1 plus 7 over -1 is greater than 9. And if we do this, we get -3, -7 is -10. So -10 is not greater than 9, so that fails. At 1, we have 3 over 1 plus 7 over 1 is greater than 9. That is true because we get 10 is greater than 9, so that checks out. And then if we plug in 2, we get 3 over 2 plus 7 over 2 is greater than 9. Sorry, that's a greater than. And so we get 10 over 2, which is actually 5, which is not greater than 9. So greater than 10/9 fails. So then our final answer, which I'm going to put in interval notation, is 0, 10 over 9. Okay, all in parentheses. That's all you got to do. And that's your answer. Okay, so I'm going to have you do 2 here. Please show your steps, and I will show you the steps as well, and then your final answer. Okay, so go ahead and solve, pause the video, and I will come back with your answer. Okay. All right, so first step for my first point, I get a critical point, I get -4. Second one, I get 1. And then third step, less than -4 does not work. Greater than 1 does not work. Between -4 and 1 works. So my final answer is -4, 1. If you wanted to write this as a set builder notation, it would be -4 less than x, or yeah, greater than x. Sorry, -4 is less than x, which is less than 1. Okay, that is also correct. And you can do similar for the previous one. We're going to do one more example, just to get that extra practice, and we're going to skip to number 4 here. So again, pause the video, try and solve. I will work it out and show you the answer and walk through it real quick, okay? The other two, it can be done on your own. I would recommend it, and If you have any questions on anything, number 5, I could see possibly having questions on, please bring them to class and we'll go over them, okay? So go ahead and pause and let's work out number 4, okay? So this is your last one here. So you have one critical point and -1, the other one at 4. Put them on the number line. Less than 1 does not work. Between -1 and 4 works, and greater than 4 does not work. So the one thing you need to remember is that in our inequality, we have a less than or equal to. So we have to remember that the first critical point here, this -1, does work for this. It's included. It can be equal to, the whole thing can be equal to 0. So instead of just a comma, or not a comma, a parenthesis, we're going to have a bracket. So we have -1 in a bracket. 4 is still going to be in the parenthesis because we can't equal 0. And then for set builder, we have to make sure we have the less than or equal to between the -1 and x, and just a less than between the x and 4. Okay? So like I said, try the other 2 problems, 3 and 5, on your own. I would recommend it. And especially on number 5, I think you'll have some questions. It is a challenging problem, but it's definitely one that you guys can do. So I want you to try that, and then bring your questions to class. That might be one we go over anyways, but I want to have you guys try it in first, and then we can go over it in class together. So other than that, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching all of the videos if you have, or all the videos that you did watch. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all your feedback that you gave me. But yeah, this is the last of your videos, so I will see you in class next. Have a good one, guys.